Hi, this is Joymahidul. At first, if you like the video, please share it with your friends and your expected comment below here. For video clips, all credits go to the movie owners. We make which are truly hidden gems to entertain people. This video is all about explaining the movie from our own point of view. For explanation, we have used most of the video clips for the movie from the better understanding. Stay with us till the end. Enjoy the video.
Today I will make sense of a film called The Boy Next Door. How about we get in? Claire Peterson is on the edge of separating from her better half, Garrett, after he was discovered cheating with his secretary. She shows him out and it causes a fracture between the two of them and their child Kevin. Claire's closest companion Vicky Lansing remains by her and urges her to sign the legal documents right away and leave Garrett for good. For Kevin's birthday, Garrett appears for supper. He welcomes Claire and Kevin to a fishing trip, following a business trip he's taking in San Francisco, which is the place where his undertaking occurred. Claire declines the greeting yet permits Kevin to join his dad. She is still a lot of wounded by the misdirection. At some point, Claire is preparing to take Kevin out when their carport entryway stalls out. Claire goes to push it open and is helped by a youngster named Noah Sanborn. He is the nephew of Claire's wheelchair-bound neighbor. Noah offers to assist with fixing the carport entryway. He goes with Kevin to the home improvement shop. After they leave, Noah's uncle tells Claire that Noah's folks kicked the bucket the earlier year also. He is as yet adapting to the misfortune. The young men stroll to the home improvement shop. Furthermore, Kevin discovers that Noah will go to a similar secondary school as him, where Claire is an educator. After they get their stuff, Kevin sees a young lady from his school that works there named Ali Callahan. He has a keen interest in her, however is excessively anxious around her. Noah convinces him to go up and converse with her. As Kevin goes to pay, Noah acquaints himself with Ali. Minutes after the fact, three troublemakers on skateboards drove by a person named Jason Zimmer come in and bother Kevin before Ali and Noah. Noah invests a great deal of energy with Kevin, while his uncle is in the emergency clinic, and Claire welcomes him to eat with them and Vicky. Claire makes reference to that she shows exemplary writing at school, and citing Noah to cite Homer and express his affection for the Iliad. Claire is plainly intrigued by this. Afterward, Noah sees a couple of stilettos that Claire keeps in a case, which she says were a gift from Vicky. Noah remarks that the shoes are for ladies who attempt to be say why, and that Claire doesn't have to attempt. He is sorry for sounding excessively forward. With Kevin and Garrett away on their outing, Claire is preparing to go out. She glances through the window and sees Noah exposed in his room. He recognizes her watching him, yet she takes cover in the background. Claire goes on a twofold date with Vicky and her burro Ethan with his mate Cooper at a cafe. Cooper is a douche that affronts Claire's affection for exemplary writing and calls her a firework when she protects her viewpoint. She likewise sees him looking at a server. Claire leaves the cafe and returns home. Noah calls Claire and tells her he had a go at thawing out a chicken in a microwave. He requests that she come over and assist him with cooking it appropriately. She winds up going over and remaining to eat the chicken with him after they cook it appropriately. Noah keeps on playing with Claire, and keeping in mind that she is intrigued, she feels it would be off base. Noah begins to kiss her and fondle her, leaving her unfit to stand up to. They wind up having enthusiastic sex. The following morning, Claire begins to lament what happened the earlier evening. She lets Noah know what they did was off base. It drives him so mad that he punches a divider and bloodies his knuckles. Kevin and Garrett get back from their excursion. They eat with Claire, at the point when Noah shows up minutes after the fact. Claire gets a plate of treats. Furthermore, Noah inquires as to whether she let the folks know what occurred while they were no more. She says there was a major rainstorm, to which Noah pompously comments that it got extremely wet around there. Kevin offers him a treat, and Noah answers, "I love your mom's treats." The school year starts, and as Claire starts her top notch, the chief comes in and tells her that Noah is joining their class, since he caused it to seem like Claire mentioned him to move into her group. She understands that he hacked her PC. Kevin and Noah hang out, in spite of Claire beginning to feel awkward with Noah. Noah takes Kevin to the forest with a weapon, having a place with his uncle. He sets up a line of oranges and controls Kevin into abhorring his dad for undermining Claire. This is available during supper when Garrett comes over and Kevin shouts at him. Kevin joins Noah at the school exercise center and he takes out his disappointment on a punching pack. Kevin overexerts himself and begins to go into shock. Noah hurries to the storage and snatches Kevin's EpiPen. He sticks it in Kevin's leg and recovers him. Vicky presents to Claire a few blossoms at work that the two of them accept came from Garrett. Claire calls him, and he denies sending anything. She calculates that Noah sent them and she stands up to him in the rec center. An instructor sees this and sees her push Noah. Kevin returns to the tool shop to ask Ali out to a film. She says she can't, yet she might want to go with him to the fall hurl. Claire and Garrett go out on the town, and he begins to get handsy with her. She is as yet annoyed about the issue, yet Garrett genuinely needs to begin new. Noah sees this and he furiously goes up against Claire about it the following morning. Kevin gets them, and since he's actually angry with his folks, he rides to school with Noah. Jason and his amigos head toward Kevin and bug him. Kevin moves forward to face Jason when Noah comes in, and kicks Jason into the storage previously, over and over, pummeling his head against it. Vicky runs in to separate the battle, just to get pushed by Noah. He is pulled off by a greater educator. Noah is shipped off the Central's office where Vicky, who is the VP, says the school never got Noah's record from his past school, since he was kicked out for muddled direct. Accordingly, Noah considers her a evaporated, grimy fucking. Vicky lifts her hand to strike him, yet he gets it. He leaves as she removes him. Claire chaperones the fall indulgence and leaves Kevin with Ali. Ali educates Claire concerning a hole in the kids' restroom. She goes to switch the sink off and sees in large letters on the divider, "I fucked Claire Peterson." Noah rises up out of the murkiness and attempts to compel himself on Claire, just to get kicked where it really hurts. She advises him to avoid her and Kevin. The following day, Claire's understudies are kept out of the class. She opens the entryway and peers inside to see something dreadful. She leaves her understudies outside and observes many pictures all around the homeroom showing her and Noah having sex, with much more being printed out. Claire turns off the printer and quickly attempts to dispose of the photos as the chief appears. She opens the entryway for the understudies to come in. The chief communicates his anxiety over Claire's new way of behaving, and he tells her of what he heard with respect to her showdown with Noah in the exercise center. Garrett gets Kevin from school to drive his vehicle home. Kevin drives it irately, still angry towards his father. He goes excessively quick and can't stop since the brakes are out. Kevin almost hits two vehicles until Garrett assists him with steering into a column of water compartments out and about. Claire gets back and sees the scratch in Garrett's vehicle. He and Kevin don't let Claire know what occurred. What's more, guarantee her they're both fine. She observes them staring at the TV with Noah. He follows her into the kitchen where she enlightens him concerning the photographs. He tells her he took a video of their night together, and on the off chance that she needs it, she needs to go to his home. Claire goes over soon thereafter. However, Noah vows to give the video provided that she keeps laying down with him. She denies and leaves. Claire tells Vicky everything. What's more, requests her assistance. She advises Claire to get into Noah's home and track down the tape herself. Noah understands his thought process is Claire's vehicle, just to see Vicky. He turns his vehicle around, provoking Vicky to call Claire, similarly as she is breaking into Noah's home. She observes the camera taken cover behind a clock over the chimney. She strolls into the storm cellar and tracks down many pictures of herself all around the dividers. Claire investigates Noah's PC and observes the video and picture records. She wastes every last bit of it, and afterward spots two different records with pictures of brakes, suggesting that Noah was the one that cut the brakes out of Garrett's vehicle, as well as from a minivan. Claire returns higher up and is alarmed when Noah's uncle appears. She runs back home. Claire meets with an analyst and discovers that Noah's folks were killed in a vehicle mishap after his father steered into a truck. She is taken to the remaining parts of the vehicle and figures it's a similar minivan recorded in Noah's PC. At home, Claire calls Vicky and is alarmed when the entryway gets beaten on. She believes it's Noah, and Vicky tells Claire to go to her home with Kevin. The entryway opens and it's simply Kevin. After the women hang out, Vicky gets pushed over the head by Noah. Noah calls Kevin and welcomes him to head toward Vicky's home. He has Vicky restricted and choked while he calls Claire and utilizes a recording of Vicky's voice to have her come over. Claire shows up at Vicky's home. It's dull and the lights have been cut. Claire gets terrified by Vicky's feline and staggers against the storeroom, which opens up and exits Vicky's dead body. Noah cut her throat. Claire shouts and runs out of the house. She calls the police right as Noah finds her and hauls her out of the vehicle. She lets him know she realizes he killed his folks. Noah says that he adored his mom, yet she committed suicide after his dad undermined her, and he cut the brakes of the minivan to kill his dad and the escort. Noah takes more time to a barn house where he has both Garrett and Kevin restricted. Noah takes steps to kill them both except if Claire consents to remain with him. She snatches a wrench and whacks him with it. She goes to Kevin and attempts to loosen him until Noah moves up and pulls Claire away. He gets a few lamp oil and tosses everything around Garrett and Kevin. He takes out the lighter when Claire pushes him and makes him drop it, touching off the lamp fuel. The barn house begins to disintegrate. Garrett gets himself free and folds the rope on his wrists over Noah's throat. Noah gets his weapon and shoots Garrett once in the chest. Claire takes Kevin's EpiPen and pokes Noah's eye. She attempts to return and unfasten Kevin, yet Noah keeps on battling her. She puts her finger in his eye, making it overflow discharge and blood. Kevin breaks the rope and whacks Noah with a square of wood, and Noah pushes him off. He points his firearm at Kevin and says that occasionally legends need to settle on tough decisions. Claire considers Noah and says, "No doubt about it," prior to pulling a switch that drops a motor on Noah to at long last kill him. Claire and Kevin pull Garrett up and leave the consuming barn house. The paramedics and police show up on the scene. They wheel Garrett into the rescue vehicle with Claire and Kevin riding close by. She keeps on guaranteeing Garrett all will be great and that they're at last returning home. Subscribe and follow to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.